Hello, my name is Alexandra Vlachakis, and throughout the year, my students have been coding in Java. Part of the standards of this class include introducing the students to multiple coding languages and to use code to be creative. The standard I cover in this lesson is ITCSP2. In this lesson, I will introduce my Computer Science Principles class, an introductory class, to a new language that will allow them to program the ProtoSnap Arduino board. The students in this class are in grades 10 through 12. Students will be working in pairs and a couple of students will be working alone. Accommodations have been made for my ESOL students. They are working with a peer that can provide additional assistance. A copy of the presentation has been placed in Edmodo for clarification. The assignment and code have also been included in the class Edmodo account. This introductory assignment will have students use provided code, but will then ask students to use the code to create a creative assignment on their own. The assignment at the end of this lesson asks the students to create new code and make the ProtoSnap use one of its components to do something different than what was introduced in class. Pictures will be provided at the end of this video to showcase the next day's creations. The students used the boards to create some incredible projects. The projects included bananas, Play-Doh, surgical gloves, and all sorts of other items. This type of lesson allows students to experience how coding can affect everyday objects. Students will see benefits in the real-world application of this lesson. Thank you.
Today we're going to be using the ProtoSnap, which is an Arduino board for beginners. We're going to use the ProtoSnap to be able to make sound, start up an LED light, and to also use the motion sensor that's actually on the ProtoSnap. To do that, we're going to use Arduino Code. So today I'm going to introduce you to a new way of coding, which is using the Arduino code, which is based on Java. So a lot of the variables and all the code that's on there should be very familiar to you because of the fact that you've been coding in Java all along. We have a couple of learning objectives that we're going to cover today. We're going to learn how a voltage divider circuit works. We're going to utilize the Arduino code to use two different types of coding that you're going to recognize, which is digital read and digital write. For every digital read, there will always be a digital write. We're going to turn on an LED light, we're going to make sound as I mentioned, and we're going to use a sensor to actually turn sound on and off or make sound go in different pitches. We're going to identify what you can make with a voltage divider on the Arduino code. And as a follow-up lesson, we're actually going to take these little tiny boards and create something very creative. You're going to have access to all sorts of extra supplies, and hopefully you'll come up with some grand idea of what you can use the ProtoSnap for. In the world of computing, right now, there is a big push for learning how to make things and learning how to actually use these devices instead of just buying something at the store. In the world of the maker movement, we've actually gone back to basics. So it's important that you understand that you need to learn how to actually create something and make it perform for you versus just going out to the store and buying something. That's what these little Arduino boards are awesome for. We can actually make them do things for us. We've been working with the Makey that we did yesterday, and you notice that it takes over your keyboard, it takes over your mouse, and with that you can do all sorts of really creative things. Well, with these little guys, you can make robots move, you can make robots make sound, you can make robots have light up lights, because it's a circuit that allows you to pop all these little pieces off and then actually put them into a robot and allow the robot to actually use them. So we're going to do a couple of activities. We're going to create a program that runs the LED using code. We're going to create a program that uses code to do the sensor, and we're going to create a program that uses a buzzer. The programs are actually pretty easy to use, and you're going to be pleasantly surprised how easy it is to actually learn how to get pretty far with this board. And that's why they call it the beginner board. The next board after this one is a board that is just a regular Arduino board that they use a lot in robotics to make robots move or to make robots talk or response, etc. So, a voltage divider, just a little tiny bit of vocabulary here. It's also known as a potential divider. It's a passive linear circuit. That's how this little guy is actually working. If you take a look at it really quick, you'll notice that it has multiple little pieces, but all the pieces are actually interconnected for you. So the Arduino code allows you to make all these pieces actually do something for you. It inputs information in and it outputs information out for you after you actually code it. So that was a voltage divider circuit. the Arduino sketch. I would like you to go onto your computers right now and look for a little tiny Arduino icon on your desktop. That little Arduino icon is going to allow you to open up what's called the Arduino sketch. Arduino sketch is where we actually do our coding that allows us to upload it to this little tiny device and then allow the device to actually perform for you. So if you look at the sketch area in Arduino, you'll notice a couple of little tools that we've never seen before. We have an area that allows us to save, an area that allows you to upload, an area that allows you to actually stop, and then there's all sorts of extra little icons on there. But for today, we're going to use the little check mark, and we're going to use the small little arrow that allows us to actually upload the information up to the Arduino. So once we actually start coding, we put our information in there, then you will click on the little arrow. The check mark's going to check to make sure that your code compiles, that you haven't made any mistakes, and then the little arrow is actually going to send the information to the ProtoSnap so that the ProtoSnap does whatever it is that you've asked it to do. There are a couple of extra little areas that we're going to use, which is the serial monitor, and you've learned already that your ProtoSnap actually uses a COM, and it also, you have to program the Arduino program to accept that that particular little ProtoSnap has been installed, okay? So when you have uploaded something, and in a minute you're going to see this, you're going to see a little message from the ProtoSnap that actually says, I've uploaded successfully, and then the ProtoSnap will automatically, if you did it correctly and you compiled, will automatically do whatever it is that you've asked it to do. So in our first program, we're actually going to get the ProtoSnap to light up. You might have already seen your ProtoSnap lighting up, and that's because the ProtoSnap right now has code that has been put in from the previous person. So therefore, the little LED light might actually be lighting for you, but you're about to do that light up on your own. When you see the light up of the LED, you're going to see it do this. If you notice on my screen, there's a little tiny lighting up area. That is the LED light that you're looking for that's actually going to light up for you. Okay, I'd like you to go to Edmodo. And on Edmodo, I have put in code for you. It says Activity 1. You may go ahead and copy that into your Arduino sketch area. And we're going to take a look at some of the information that's on there. Don't compile just yet, because I'd like to show you what that information is. Okay, everybody got the code? Anybody still copying? Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. The first one is a variable that is telling the button pin number 7 to actually perform something for you. The next one is another variable. It's called LED pin, which is equal to 13. If you can't locate it on your Arduino, go ahead and look on my screen because it's up there. Okay? It is going to tell the button to turn on the LED light for you. So you notice that we also have a new section on here that you might not recognize, but that we did in Java when we were putting public static void. And that's because the area that we actually want the program to perform for us is in the void setup area. That's what they call it in the Arduino code. So you see how learning one language actually kind of merges over to learning multiple languages, because a lot of these things kind of are very similar in the different languages. Even though Arduino has its own language, you can still kind of recognize the things that are on here. So public static void is very similar to void setup right here. And in void setup, you have a pin mode. So in the pin mode, we're going to tell the Arduino ProtoSnap to input some information. Then we're going to tell it to output some information by giving us the LED light output. The next section in an Arduino code is a void loop. You know what a loop is. Somebody tell me, what is a loop? What does a loop do? Haley.
You put code in there, and then the loop makes sure that it continuously goes through that code again.
Until you tell it to stop, or it just continuously goes, right? So that's what this section does for the Arduino. Now, when you're actually getting a device to actually perform for you, it's very important that your code actually does the loop, because otherwise it's not going to do what you'd ask it to do over and over again. So you'll notice that in the loop we have A high button is when not pressed, and a low button when is pressed. And that's the little tiny button. If you locate that on your ProtoSnap, it's all the way over on the right-hand side past the light area. And it's like a little tiny little gold little button on there. If you press that, once we upload the program, it should turn the LED light on and off for you. Now, there is also an if statement. What's an if statement for? Okay, so it's a statement that's going to either do this or do the other, right? Okay, so an if statement is a statement that's going to tell the little ProtoSnap, do this, otherwise do this, right? And it's in the loop, so that means it's going to continuously do this, otherwise do that. So in the case of the ProtoSnap right now with the button, we're going to say, go ahead and show me the light, but otherwise, if I let go of the button, turn me off. That's what you're actually telling the little program to do. All right, you ready to see this happen? Should we turn off the light so we can see your lights turn on? Okay, go ahead and compile and then upload it. Oh, I see some lights already. And then try your button to see if it turns on and off. Yours is turning on and off. That's good. Okay, you should see some lights come on and some lights turn off for you. I see yours. Okay, there you go. I see your lights turning on and off. So the button turns on and off if the program responded to it correctly. Okay, so that was a beginning program for the Arduino board. Let's go on to the next program. On Edmodo, I have posted the next program for you. And we're going to go look at the code for this one a little bit and see if you can tell me what this is going to do. But I'll give you a second to go ahead and upload the program or copy the program. You may need to create a brand new sketch area on the Arduino. So you need to go to File, New, and paste it on there. Or you can just replace what was on there with the new program that you're doing now. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to see in the next program is it uses RGB. Does anybody in here know what does RGB stand for? Red, green, and blue, which are standard colors to an LED light that you have on your Arduino board. If you saw it turn on, it should have given you red, green, and blue on the LED. So in this particular program, you're going to notice that you're going to have an output of red, green, and blue. And you'll also notice that for every pin mode, somewhere on here, you're actually going to have an analog write. So the Arduino program needs, if I do this, I need to write here. So in Java, there was a line of code that we use all the time to get Java to output something, and that was the println statement. Do you remember that? Or the print statement. So every time we needed a Java program to do something for it, we actually told it to do a println or print this or give us an output of this. So in the case of the ProtoSnap, it's doing the same thing. It's giving us that by using what's called the analog write in this particular program. Do you guys locate analog write on there? So in this program, just like the previous one, we wanted to do some kind of a loop because like Haley said, a loop is what allows the program to continuously go for us. So we're going to actually tell this particular little program to write the LED light colors over and over again. Go ahead and compile this program and let it run for you. And then let's see what your LED lights do. Go ahead, compile it once you copy it, and then let's see what it does. We should see some better lights turn on. Yay, now we got lights. The button one can be a little tricky and you may have to play with that one a little bit more, but now I see your lights. Okay, good job. You know, and in programming we know that if it first doesn't work, we have to try again, right? So that's something that we've learned all year round. And we're kind of used to that, aren't we? Oh, it didn't work, we got to go back and look at it again. Okay, so if we got your LED lights turning on, you guys ready to make some noise? All right, let's make some noise. In the next program that I'm going to show you, your Arduino board is going to react and use the little buzzer. If you locate the buzzer, it's like a little tiny black little dot on there. I want you to go ahead and go to Activity 4 on your Edmodo account. which if you haven't located that, you should have because I've seen you all do it. But that's activity 4 on here. And that's going to get your buzzer to work. Go ahead and copy that into your Arduino code. And let's take a look at some of this code. So in this particular one, you have a brand new variable. Can anybody locate what's the variable in this one that's going to make noise? Or anybody want to make a prediction to that one? Yeah, the buzzer pin. That's exactly right. And then you're going to have a light pin. So if we have a light pin, we have a button pin, and we have a buzzer pin. What do you think this particular little program is going to do? It's going to make it buzz, but it's going to do a little more than that. What else is it going to do? When you press the button, it's going to turn on. All right, let's see, because there's another thing in there that's working that we haven't talked about, and it's called the light pin. Okay, let's keep reading the code a little bit. So it says, when the buzzer pin is giving output, do this. When the buzzer pin is doing input, do this. Can anybody spot something new on there in about the second line of code? What is it reading? Does anybody see something that says sensor on there? Sensor reading, very good. That particular variable has set up a scenario now for your ProtoSnap to actually perform when you touch the sensor. So you saw where your LED light was, right? Well, the coolest thing about this ProtoSnap is that it actually has a motion sensor. So therefore, if you touch the motion sensor on this particular program, it's going to tell the buzzer to do something. Anybody want to make a prediction of what the motion sensor is going to do to the buzzer? Make it buzz. Well, you got a button, right? So you're definitely going to use your button because you said that. But you've also got a buzzer and a sensor. And any predictions as to what the buzzer is going to do when you touch the sensor? All right, well, let's check it out. Let's go ahead and upload it and see what your actual buzzer is going to do when you touch the sensor. Has everybody located the sensor? All right, let's listen. Now try the button with the sensor. Think we could do a little symphony here? Yeah, I don't think yours is uploaded yet. Let it give it a second.
And then when it does, we hit the button.
Yes. Okay, so what does this sensor do? Anybody know?
It changes the pitch.
It changes the pitch. If we had enough of these ProtoSnaps together, could you see the scene here? We could make it do Jingle Bells. We could make it do the song to the Mario video game. Maybe something we might want to experiment with later on, right? Is to actually get a bunch of these little ProtoSnaps together and make them do noise. Okay? Ooh, I hear somebody doing something good. Anybody hear music? They can make some good music. I've seen it happen. I've seen a bunch of these cooked up together and they play music. Like they actually go through and play like a song or something, which is pretty cool. Okay, we'll give you a second to upload that so that it plays for you. Did yours work? Yes? Okay. Okay, I think that with that, you've gotten a good introduction to the Arduino ProtoSnap. I'm going to let you go ahead and try one more program. And then as a follow-up activity, we're actually going to go on Instructables.com and we're going to come up with some clever ideas as to how we can program the ProtoSnap to do some creative things in class. And we're going to really take off with creating some cool projects in here. At Georgia Tech, I actually saw them create a Ferris wheel, and they use cardboard to make all the little pieces for it, and then the Ferris wheel actually turns and it has lights and it makes sound. So there are all sorts of really interesting projects available on the web for you guys to experiment with, and we will do that tomorrow. But go ahead and try one more. So the Arduino board doesn't just give you the ability to be able to code it so that it makes noises and makes light. It actually gives you output too. So it has what's called a COM area that gives you the ability to see what you've inputted. So how many of you guys remember the program Hello World? Okay, well we're about to do the Hello World program for the Arduino board. So I want you to go to the last activity, which is activity 3 actually. So activity 3 is what we're on right now. And we're going to grab this one, and on your Arduino board, what I want you to do is I want you to locate an area that allows you to actually see the serial monitor. It's under Tools. If you look up at the screen, you'll see that it says Serial Monitor. You click on Serial Monitor, and you're going to see a COM3 serial monitor come up. Whatever you put into this particular little program that you're about to do is actually going to display in the serial monitor. So does anybody know what this one is going to say with the program that I gave you? Okay, let's do that. So you upload it, and you should see some light sensors come up, and you should see that it's actually talking at you. And if you did it correctly, you can go back and change the message that it actually gave you. But for right now, you should see some light sensors. Does anybody know what it's doing? I see Nathan figured it out. Exactly. When you put your hand over the light sensor, Jabari, I see you got yours working. Put your hand over the light sensor and you should end up with zeros. If you completely cover the sensor, it will automatically give you absolutely no reading. But if you uncover the light sensor, then it actually tells you what particular light sources it's actually picking up. So it's a very interesting little program because it actually picks up all sorts of different ambient lights from the environment that you're looking at. Do you see it? Okay. And you can actually get this little program to actually say something else for you. You can actually program the print ln section there to actually say, hello, my name is, okay? And that's what I'm going to let you guys experiment with. I've given you some really interesting little programs. Your job today as your final activity is to modify one of the programs and then go ahead and turn that in as an assignment, okay? Are there any questions? Okay, let's have fun. Go ahead and modify the programs and experiment with the ProtoSnap. Wow, I don't know if that's going to work. No, it did not. We could try to make that noise on the ProtoSnap. Isn't that fun?
Yes. She's trying to make the Mario.
You can go look it up if you want.
Do the Mario.
You can go look up the Mario music. So that's a good question. So he's asking, how would you make it longer? There should be a delay in there or a pitch area that you can actually modify the numbers so that it actually comes up a little bit longer. So that makes a little bit more. I don't know about that number you guys just put in. Is it even working?
Sometimes it does it twice.
Oh, yeah, that worked. What number is that? Like a
1 million.
Thank you so much, you guys. Go ahead and put this away and close everything out.